Welcome into Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. Jeffrey Cooperstein here with you guys, and I really wanted to take a look at what the season outlook could be for the Dallas Mavericks. I was talking to some people around the organization, people who follow the Mavericks as closely as we do, and I really got a bunch of differing opinions on what this team could be, and frankly, my opinion changes on the daily on what this team could be as well. I think they could be a really good squad, and I also think it could be a disappointing season, and my opinion basically changes daily because there's just a lot of factors that are frankly unknown around the Dallas Mavericks. So to start off today's show, I'll ask you guys, where do you think the Mavericks will finish in the Western Conference? Let me know down there in the comment section. Do you think they'll be top 4 and secure home court advantage in the first round of the playoffs? Do you think they'll be a top 6 seed and avoid the play-in? Do you think they'll be in the play-in or miss the playoffs and be in the lottery? Let me know down there in the comments what you guys think. I think the most realistic expectation for the Mavericks this year is to be somewhere between the 4 seed and the 8 seed. And yeah, that's a pretty wide range. Like, I think they could end up with home court in the first round of the playoffs, but that would mean a lot has to go right. That would mean Anthony Davis is playing on opening night. And that would mean Anthony Davis is playing 65-plus games this season. And is it realistic to expect Anthony Davis to play 65-plus games? I frankly don't think so. He's done it like once over the last 6 seasons, and that was the 23-24 year, where he ended up playing in 76 games. Played in just 51 games last season. And look, if he plays in 60-plus, I think everyone, including the Mavericks, would be pretty happy with that output. You're also going to need Anthony Davis to not only play in a lot of games, but be very productive in those games as well. We saw it in the first 2.5 quarters of his Mavericks tenure, how dominant he could be. That game against the Rockets, we will always have. We will look back on that as one of the best 2.5 quarter performances in Mavericks history, but we all know what happened after that. He gets hurt. He misses the vast majority of the rest of the regular season. Now, he did come back and play really well in the play-in. I mean, he played great against Sacramento. He played great against Memphis. And even though the Mavs didn't beat the Grizzlies, he was able to put together a performance that made Mavs fans pretty optimistic for what he could be. The really confusing thing was the surgery that he had in July to repair a detached retina, which apparently he was playing with. Now, the question, why didn't he get that surgery earlier in the offseason in order to be ready for the start of the 25-26 season? That question still hasn't been answered yet. Maybe we'll get those questions answered there on Media Day, but I really don't know why they waited that long. So a lot of the season is predicated on Anthony Davis, and a lot of the season is also going to be predicated on Cooper Flagg and how quick he can be up to speed with the NBA game. And you saw in the Summer League, like, there are some things that he does that you just say, wow, like, this guy is ready to play NBA basketball. And there are some things that you're like, oh, he definitely needs to work on that. Some of the things he's already, I would say, elite at. His winning basketball traits are absolutely there. He does the little things right. He rebounds. He hustles. He plays active defense. He has active hands on the defensive end. He has energy. He has all of the intangibles that you need in order to be a good NBA basketball player. And alongside that, he does have some pretty fantastic talents. Like, I think he's going to be an elite defender right away in the league. And I do think he's going to be a very good offensive player. That will just come, I think, maybe a little later than the defensive acumen does, simply just because it's a hard offensive league to play in right now. I think he has to tighten up his handle. I think he has to hone in on his three-point shooting. And he shot it pretty well at Duke last year, 38.5% from three. I don't know if that number stays the same here in the NBA. It's a longer three-point shot, number one. And number two, you're going to have much more athletic defenders on you. And they're going to throw a lot of things that Flagg maybe hasn't seen. Like, in high school and in college, he was pretty much just able to out-athlete anybody. I don't know if he can do that in the NBA anymore. So I think those are things he has to work on. But what I really like about his offensive game is his aggression, his ability to use his size, and his overall basketball IQ to just find the open man in transition, to be able to grab a rebound, get out on a fast break, and make the right play. He can absolutely already do that. But this team is relying heavily on an often injured big man and a rookie who is just 18 years old. And I think when you take into account what the Mavs could do this year, those have to be two factors that absolutely play into that. And another factor is D'Angelo Russell. How is he going to play this year as the team's primary starting point guard for the first half of the season? You're not getting Kyrie Irving back until January at the absolute earliest. I think it's going to be February post All-Star break. And look, we all know that D'Angelo Russell has been a good player in the league. His stretch in Los Angeles was all-star caliber, where he was averaging 17-plus points, about 6 assists a night. He shot 41% from three. If you're getting that D'Angelo Russell, I feel very confident that this Mavericks team can be pretty good. But if you're getting Brooklyn D'Angelo Russell, where he's efficient, he's shooting 30% from three, he's not making great plays with the basketball, he's not getting many assists, that could spell doom for this Mavericks squad. The Mavericks have to be a top 5 defensive team in the NBA in order for this thing to work. If you're getting good D'Angelo Russell and you're getting healthy Anthony Davis, I think you're a top 12-ish offensive team in the league. I don't think this team's going to wow anybody with their offensive firepower. I just don't see that being the way that the Mavericks win. They're trying to throw it back to the mid-2000s where they're going to try to win games by holding teams to less than 100 points. Spoiler alert, that doesn't happen in the NBA anymore. Hopefully, if you can hold teams to 105 points a game, you are one of the top defensive teams in the NBA, and that's what the Mavs are absolutely going to have to do this season. In the Western Conference, let me tell you, it's extremely difficult. You have teams like the Lakers, who I think are one of the favorites to win the West this year, with Luka, with LeBron, with DeAndre Ayton, with Austin Reeves, with Rui Hachimura. And then you obviously have the Oklahoma City Thunder, defending NBA champion. You have the much improved Houston Rockets, who ended up acquiring Kevin Durant, and I think they're going to have a very good season as well. And then you have the Denver Nuggets, who still have Nikola Jokic. I think they upgraded from Michael Porter Jr. in Cam Johnson, and they still have Jamal Murray as well. So there is a lot of teams standing in the Mavericks' way of being at the top of the West, and not only are they in the West, they're in their own division as well. Like, I think the San Antonio Spurs are going to be a better team this year with a healthy Wembanyama, with De'Aaron Fox. They have Dylan Harper coming into the fold. They're going to be solid. I think the Grizzlies, even though they lost Desmond Bane, will still have a good team. And there's no way the New Orleans Pelicans are as bad as they were last season. Maybe if Zion's healthy, you always have to account for that. Now, Zion never is healthy, so you can't rely on him doing so, but it is not an easy task in the Western Conference whatsoever. There are very few teams where I'd say it's a guaranteed win against anybody in the West, like the Portland Trailblazers, and that might be it. The Phoenix Suns are going to be bad as well, but even teams like the Kings, like the Warriors, the Clippers are going to be good. Like, there is a lot of good teams that you have to deal with, and you can't take nights off in this conference or you will get beat. And that extends to the NBA Cup as well, where the Mavericks are going to be playing the Lakers. They're going to be playing a bunch of other good teams in that. So the competition is going to be stark. And where the Mavericks are really going to have to make a difference is against the Eastern Conference. You play 30 games against the East, you have to go 20-10. Against the East in order to have a chance to make the playoffs. That's really the key statistic to watch, in my opinion, is how good the Mavericks can fare against the Eastern Conference. If you're 20-10 against the East, chances are you have a good chance. If you're 500 or worse, you're not going to be very good there in the West. Well, I asked you at the start of the show, and I'll ask you again after I've kind of laid everything out. Where do you think the Mavs will finish in the Western Conference? If I had to put a seed number on it right now, I would say that they are the 6th seed in the West. Now, maybe that's a little optimistic. If you think it's pessimistic, let me know down there in the comment section, but I think that's really where I'd put them right now. Hopefully, once games actually start, to be played here in just about a month or so, we can get a better picture on what this team actually can be. That will do it for today's show, guys. I appreciate you for tuning in to Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. Of course, hit that subscribe button. Go give me a follow on Twitter at Jeff_Coop27, and we'll see you soon here on the channel. Appreciate you for watching.